KWT slaying.
Salama family, salama, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. Today we're going to talk about your most uninteresting topic, DNA. And also, also, it's interesting that, I just don't understand it. I don't understand, like Abu likes to always try to reference us and stuff. And I'm like, Abu, you don't teach what we say. You don't know what we say. You lie on what we do say. And then he say things like, well, the Teotw twins have a problem with being haplogroup G. Yet we the ones that showed you all haplogroup G. I just don't get it. And then he says stuff, that just contradicts stuff that they said last week. So what I'm gonna do right now is let Minister Teotw take it away.
Okay, so when I say YAP gang, just know I include Abu in that group, right? I include Orthodox Moor in that group. So let's not get it twisted. That's who I'm talking about. The whole gang, including those two. I know Abu likes to separate himself from that, but no, you cannot. You promote everything they promote. All right, so we're gonna start off by watching a video, and then we'll take it from there. All right.
Make it full screen. All right.
Close in now. I turned around and I said I'm gonna put 300 up, and we never did that. So, so Bishop Brown. I know the other stuff may come up, but do me a favor. Let's abstain from Professor Katz and all that right now. Bishop Brown, everybody in the community was just talking. He went and got a specialist in the field. Who do you think you are, boo? William Brown went got a specialist in the field dealing with DNA. And now you're critiquing that? That's like a Pastor Kelly, and I'm like, oh man, they wouldn't got a geneticist. And Pastor Kelly, he just like, Berean, I think you need to take a look at this. I know he blowing shots on the low. He gonna act like he ain't. But he blowing shots at me on the low. Then that ignorant second accident. When I see emails in a row, I say, oh, this gotta be something. Even if I don't look at it, I'm gonna hit the mods of them. I'll be like, we got a problem. Abu, why is a specialist wrong, Abu? Let me just.
Well, hold on. My videos, none of the videos that I've made recently were against Elhaik. So I wasn't jabbing at him. In that interview, I know there's a lot of other people that don't like Elhaik. I like him a lot.
Was it the YAP gang? Somebody was on this channel, they mentioned him. And somebody
there's a lot of people who have disagreements with him because he might be a little heavy-handed with where he leans with the Khazar hypothesis. So that, there's a lot of people within the genetic field who feel that he goes too far.
Yeah.
And so I'm not against Elhaik, and I didn't make none of my videos. I made 3 videos that were relevant to that interview, but none of them were critiquing Elhaik.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, what's the problem then? You don't think Teotw understand? Because why would Teotw and them send me a video, the same video? They don't know I already got it for 3 other people.
Exactly. See, that's the $1 million question. The same thing happened with Razib Khan. When Garfield interviewed Razib Khan, Teotw was like, there you go. Razib Khan proved everything that we said. And people would ask them, wait, how exactly did he prove you were right? They didn't want to discuss it. They're doing the same thing now with Eran Elhaik. They're saying that Eran Elhaik has proven their claims true, but they haven't explained how. But they've alluded to how. Forgive me, hold on.
We're gonna pause right there for a sec. We're gonna address that. Okay, so don't get it twisted. Abu is well spoken, doesn't make him not a liar. He's a well spoken liar. But I'm gonna try to keep it civil. But let me share something, because yes, Rajib Khan said some things that did hurt their argument on Garfield's show. Yes, it did. And we did address that on one of our shows. But specifically, unless Rashid Khan has recanted his article, these guys need to address that. So
and here's the thing: they always say they don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand. Yes, we do understand. We're smarter than you, Abu.
Absolutely. So let me share. And you all have seen this many times, all right? Because I told y'all I'm gonna remind y'all every time we talk about DNA. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. Now, okay, so look, don't let these so-called hobbyist geneticists avoid addressing comments like this, right? So this is written by who, family? Who? Razib Khan. Unless he recants on this article, this is written by him, okay? And
do you want to make this full screen?
It's full screen by me.
Well,
yeah, let's
like
do that, right?
Go.
Okay,
you go right there.
Yeah. So have those guys address this, because what they do is they're spitting out terminology at you guys, and knowing that you don't study DNA, taking you for a ride. All right, that's basically how they maneuver. So, like Sean Harris, I saw, what's the brother, Richard? I think Richard was his name, or Robert. He was in the midst of them on Berean, not the show I'm showing today. But he started bringing up STR and all of this stuff. And obviously, Sean Harris didn't know anything about what STR is. And he gaslighted the brother, saying, well, since you don't study DNA like we do, you don't understand. It's okay. It's okay since you don't get it and you're new to this, right? But not once have I heard the YAP gang talk about alleles, centimorgans, STR profile, SNPs. They don't do that. Because when you get into the science, this is when their argument falls apart. You won't hear Abu talk about it. You won't hear none of them. Why? Because they don't understand those things. They don't understand the science. All right, simple as that. But let's read this now. When these brothers do the hit piece after this show, because they're gonna probably an hour after we do this, they'll be doing a hit piece. So make sure they address this article here. All right.
And one thing I want to add,
my own eyes here.
One thing I want to add before you continue, Mr. Teotw, is we don't believe DNA identifies Israel. We believe the cursors do, but we want to make it known that those brothers are lying. They're misrepresenting what the science says, and they're misleading a lot of people. But go ahead.
Thank you, Minister Yacoba. I'm glad you said that, because day one, and even on the Berean show, when we were on that, you can go find the old shows. We said we believe the curses identify Israel. We don't think that the DNA identifies Israel. We don't think you can successfully identify who is Israel. We made many points as to why there are problems with all of this DNA stuff, right? And I played in a previous video about the YAP gang, Yeshub clearly stating, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, hey, I have that video. You could go back and watch it. If I need to pull it up, I'll find it. But let's read this article. This is a public service announcement. Who wrote this now? Rashid Khan, the guy that they say doesn't go against them. If you are a user of direct-to-consumer personal genomic services, Please do not pay attention to your mitochondrial DNA and Y chromosomal haplogroups. In bold. Why? Because they hardly tell you anything about your individual ancestry. What do I mean by this? Your mitochondrial DNA comes down from your mother's mother's mother. And similarly, for your Y chromosomal lineage, if you are a male, these few individuals are not any more likely to contribute to your ancestry than all those multitudes and multitudes who do not contribute to your mitochondrial DNA or Y lineages, also known as almost all your ancestors. What you should pay attention to, emphasis now, pay attention. What you should pay attention to are your what family? Autosomal results. Who wrote this? Razib Khan. They say, we don't understand what we're talking about. They say Razib Khan goes against us, or we don't understand him. Family, y'all tell me if I don't understand what I'm reading here. Inferences made from most of your genome. So what are autosomes? Inferences made from most of your genome. That's what we've been saying, right? The more data, the better the results. These results may be more difficult to parse. Yes, they may be. Of course they will. But difficulty is what? No sin. And elegant ease is no virtue. In this case, that's because you are interested in your ancestry, not a convenient, interpretable story. Of course, I am not saying that mitochondrial DNA and Y chromosomal haplogroups are useless. They are useful for Minister Yacoba, population scale.
Can we say migration?
Geography.
Can we say migration?
You tell them every time, don't you? Right. But please don't make inferences about yourself from one data point, at least in most cases. This is what we've been saying from day one, many years back. Why? Because we understand data. We are developers. The more data, the better. These guys are going by one single mutation, and then, hey, I wonder if we don't understand what Elhaik recently said. So, Minister Yacoba, can you play those two little clips you have?
All right. So the first clip is going to be Israelites having more than one haplogroup.
Travis says, Dr. Iran, can the Israelites show up genetic as more than one Y DNA haplogroup?
Yeah, absolutely. They're quite diverse. We've seen T, we've seen J's, we've seen CTs, we've seen E1. So I'm getting a lot of emails from African community asking if they're related to the ancient Israelites. I think possibly. There are ancient Israelites with the E1 and other letters and numbers in the data set. Like I showed you with the Viking person, this test will answer this question as well. So I've been getting those questions for years, but I could never answer. There were no ancient DNA samples, but now actually there are. You know what I wanted to tell you? In 2009, when I finished my PhD, I started postdoc at School of Medicine, Johns Hopkins, and I wanted to work on the ancient Israelite because there were so many studies about Jews. And told me, you can't, there are no studies. Like, then how come you're studying Jews? How do you link them to the land of Israel and whatnot? And then I read this study and I was like, it's all deception. There were no ancient Israelite. How can you possibly say anything about a modern group without an ancient reference group that you're telling me, and here how we prove they're connected? No, they're not. This is bullshit. and this is what my work studies. You can compare them to the closest possible reference groups. Yes, but we again need to pretend those groups did not change for thousands of years, which is I'm fine with pretending that. But the way those studies were done, they never compared them to group from the Caucasus and the Khazariya boundaries. They always compared them with the group where they wanted to see the highest similarity, in this case, Palestinians and Bedouins. So when you look at Jews and you compare them to Palestinians and Bedouins and to the other reference, which for some reason was English, they came up closer to the Middle Eastern ones. Hence the conclusion, Jews are from the Middle East. Like, no, you're framing the question according to the answer you want to get. Now add the actual groups from the Caucasus. You'll see how all the Jews are going to the Caucasus.
Let me comment on that right quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to ask if you want to comment. Go ahead.
So he said you're framing the story, right, to get the conclusion that you want to get. And this is how the YAP gang operates, right? They are framing the narrative using their model, which they admit is a hypothesis, right? They're framing their argument to try to build up support for their model. So, for example, the Natufians, I mean, okay, you know, the E1B1, okay, the Natufians are Shemitic. What that got to do with Israel? Oh, well, they tied to Israel. Prove that ties to you, right? Because here's the problem. They say E1B1A is Israel. They say E1B1. E1B1B is Israel. And so Yeshua's argument is what? Rapid radiation. In order to make it work, right? Because everyone's descendant from the same father, so you should have the same mutation. But to get around that, oh, rapid radiation, the reason it's another subclade. I'm like, okay, where is that source? Do you understand that the science is new? The discoveries of ancient DNA is hard to get, but Elhaik said he found some Israelite DNA, which, you know, in my opinion, you know, I it's questionable to me because I don't think, first of all, that anywhere around modern Jerusalem is Israel. So that's questionable. But the argument that they can easily claim who is Israel is a lie. If you listen to Elhaik said you got Israelites that can have different haplogroups. Minister Yacoba, can you play that one as well?
All right.
Yeah.
We got a couple more before you get out of here. It says, Mark Juherd for Dr. Elhaik, can the Y DNA be used to trace your lineage accurately?
Depends on what you consider accurate. You have a certain Y chromosome. A person who live 200 years may have the same Y chromosome, but he may not be your ancestor.
Wow.
You guys may have the same Y chromosome, but so many other people can have it. So if you have the full Y chromosome of you and this other person, which is very difficult with ancient samples, then you have a stronger base to make this kind of claim. Okay, and
So what he said, right? Minister Yacoba, what did he say? He said you can have the same.
You can have different haplogroups.
Or same haplogroup and not be related.
Minister Tay, just let you know, every now and then there's like a breakup. I don't know if that's on your end or mine, but I hear a little breakup.
It might be me. I don't know what's happening.
But go ahead. Most of the time,
just let me know. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to the video I was showing you guys, and we're gonna continue and continue to talk about this.
More. So sorry about that. No, what I was saying is they allude to how what he said is somehow, without them explaining how, somehow is supposed to settle their dispute with the YAP gang and to a lesser extent me, but they don't explain how, and honestly they're badly misrepresenting him. But you know.
So I'm misrepresenting Rashid Khan. Did I not read that article that told you he clearly said don't waste your time on haplogroups? But I'm misrepresenting him. Who's misrepresenting him? All right. So we have two geneticists that teach more like we do than they do. All right. everyone's saying, where the professionals, where the experts? The experts are not supporting them in their argument. Why? Because they don't understand. They really don't understand this genetic mutation concept. But let's continue.
They're making these claims behind the block wall. They're not like discussing it in sort of like an open forum, like the Rumble Room, where they used to have open discussions, but whatever the case.
I had to stop on that.
I wonder why we don't want to discuss with them. I wonder why.
So look, the background behind that was that we weren't from day one not talking about DNA. We say we were done with DNA. They continued to harass us. Abu continued to harass us. We said we're not interested. We would get messages in Facebook harassing us saying, what's your opinion? Why don't you share your opinion? All because of the videos we did 3 years ago. Okay, so we said, okay, well, we're just going to block you. We're going to block you because you just don't take no for an answer. So that's why we call Abu our stalker, right? Because he wouldn't leave us alone. And you know, to me, we have clearly explained our position as to why we think haplogroups are not viable. Now, as far as autosomal makes sense to us. So we say, look, based on the volume of data you get, right? And this is what Rashid Khan and even Elhaik is doing. Based on the volume of data you get, you have a better chance of identifying your relationships to people, right? Whether they are thousands of years ago or not. And we're going to get a little further on. Let's continue.
I think I saw the Rumble Room in here. Go ahead.
Basically, the Teotw twins are misciting the sources and they're jumping from A to Z, but they completely miss B, C, D, E, and the rest of the alphabet that actually does not line up with their hypothesis.
I like. Can you be an Israelite? Let's.
Family, did we misrepresent that article? Did we misrepresent the video from Elhaik? Or are they wrong and they're trying to do damage control? Because if you notice, every time they go on Berean doesn't challenge them on the information they're putting out there. So people are supposed to accept this idea that these brothers have a clue about DNA. But I guarantee you, if I pull them on here now, they're not going to be able to tell you what a STR mutation is versus a SNP. I guarantee you they won't. They don't go there. All right. But let's continue.
Say 600,000 men, women, and children left out of Egypt. Did they all have one? Were they all explain their DNA?
See, the thing is, this is what I'm going to say. It always depends on what we mean by Israelite. So I do not, me personally, I do not hold to a patrilineal definition of Israelite. But what I always say is that, as it seems the majority of the Israelites today do hold to a patrilineal definition, I'm willing to discuss that. At the very least, it's an interesting academic discussion. So when you're talking about the strict paternal line, you're talking about Y-DNA, and that's where haplogroups and stuff come in. You know, at on Elhaik site, for the most part, when it shows your results, it's just kind of testing you autosomally, so it doesn't really have much relevance to.
What is that site about? Is that a legit site in your opinion? Like, what's the other one? Everybody was telling the GEDmatch. Yes, is that a legit DNA site?
Oh, GEDmatch is a great site.
Now, I ain't talking about GEDmatch. I ain't talking about GEDmatch. I'm talking about
at on Elhaik's website.
Yes.
Well, look, I'll say he's a legitimate geneticist and he's doing legitimate things with your DNA. I would say that
is his website. Is he just trying to make money off the awakening?
I don't know about that. He's definitely making some money. I'll say this: as someone who's a little bit broke and can't afford his many different kits, I might be a little a little sour on how expensive it can be to get all these different kits. But no, so he's definitely making some money off of it. But what I would say is using it all on Elhaik's website, I think people should be clear up front about what they're looking for. Like, for example, if we're holding to a patrilineal definition, then his website can't really help you one way or the other. I'm going to give an example. Yeshub recently went live on air. Orthodox Moor pointed this out a couple nights ago. or a couple days ago, and so I went and checked it out.
People that don't know.
Genesis 49ers. He's the guy who runs the Genesis 49ers account. He's part of the YAP gang. There you go. Oh, I didn't even know Moor's on the panel. So Yeshub showed his. Now this is one I was going to say, like the relevance of the site of Eran Elhaik's site, which is ancientdnaorigins.com. Yeshub went on live. He purchased the kit for the tribe of Judah, and he showed his results, and it basically put him as 0% quote unquote Israelite. Of course, the site doesn't say how it's defining Israelite, what his Israelite sample is. I mean, that's, or at least it was unclear from what I saw. And this is what I would say. Even if you get 0%, like Yeshub did, that doesn't mean you're not a patrilineal descendant from Jacob, right? So that's what I would say. Because it's just doing an autosomal thing, it doesn't really tell you about your paternal line. So irrespective of what you get, like if I went on there and got a higher percentage than him, it wouldn't mean that I descend paternally from Jacob and he doesn't. So I would say if we're exploring a paternal definition of Israelite, the site is not going to be very helpful. That's not to say it has no value, but it's not going to be helpful to that. And if somebody like the Teotw twins want to invoke some sort of autosomal definition of Israelite, that needs to be defined, as thus far it's been incredibly vague. So that's what I would say. It all depends on our starting definitions, the value of a site like that.
Yeah.
So according to Abu, he's not locked in on a definition as far as what and who is Israel. So why is he running around with people who are definitively saying who is and who is not Israel? I mean, because he holds to the same doctrine and logic and model that they follow, which is clearly faulty. All right, but let's continue.
Read Jordan. Hold on a minute, brother. Read Jordan.
I'm on my phone, so I'm having trouble seeing it. It looks like it says I read him on here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm having trouble on my phone. Oh, you want me to try? All right, I'll try. Let me see. I'll turn my phone sideways. Maybe I'll get a better.
Oh, do it to somebody else.
He said, I read him. I got it. I read him on here when I read them DNA papers. Elhaik, and he said converts. That's why they mad. I mean, I don't know what exactly. I mean, I remember when he was.
I'm not going. When Damon Richardson came on here, Fervent Charity, and there was a few people that wanted to attempt to address some stuff, and Fervent Charity was one of the first ones to jump on. He brought out a paper and he started reading that.
This is what I would say. There's again, it's going to come back to a thing about definitions. I've never seen anyone sit down with Elhaik and ask him questions about haplogroups. He is on record, sort of saying that E is, one of the earliest haplogroups amongst the Israelites. But because he has a different definition of Israel, where he seems to see them as just a conglomerate of peoples, he's happy to see them as, encompassing multiple haplogroups. He seems to talk about how a great many mainstream Jews today don't line up autosomally with ancient samples that he assumes to be Israelite. But then even that would beg the question about what's the acceptable threshold, right? Like if there's some Ashkenazi out there who's only 15% match with some sample, like is he excluded or is he included, and on what terms, like if someone's going by an autosomal definition. So the value of Elhaik's work, I think he does valuable work, and I think of course people are free to dispute it, but I think there's going to be an open question about what our starting definition is,
All right, go ahead.
Can I go?
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm looking forward to it.
You notice you got it.
Yeah. So real quick, so why what Abu's saying is so important? People need to understand the implications of what Abu's saying. So the Teotw twins adhere to this concept of an autosomal connection to being able to connect yourself to Israel over millennia and whatnot. They believe that using autosomal DNA is the best way to trace yourself back to Jacob, Abraham, etc. Right? Autosomal DNA only goes back 500 years. Some people will say 1,000 years, etc. Right? So that doesn't go back far enough to trace yourself back to Jacob. This website is set up the exact way that the Teotw twins are saying we should look at DNA. It's only for autosomal DNA. And this is why it's so important, because when Yeshub showed that he had no autosomal connection to what the website is saying is a autosomal Israel, people need to understand, like, that's what you get. So if you go with Teo's method, none of us who have West African autosomal DNA are going to match up to ancient autosomal Israel, because ancient autosomal Israel did not look like autosomal West African. It's different genetics there. And so what's also off about the site though is, like, so they don't go by patrilineal, they don't use haplogroup. So there was actual samples there that are E1B1, right? That are Natufian samples and whatnot, right? So Yeshub is EU290. He's a downstream of E1B1. They didn't say that he had any connection whatsoever to that. He should have had at least some kind of trace, like maybe 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 connection to that, given the time span and whatnot, right? However, they're saying he had zero connection to it. And that's part of his DNA, but that's part of his haplogroup. That's part of his Y DNA. That's not his autosomal, right? So they're not using that in any way, shape, or form. What does that mean? That means that if Dante Fortson, who we know for a fact has a downstream of the Natufian DNA, if he took the same test for Judah or for Levi, for any one of the tribes, via how this website does it, and the methodology of the Teotw twins, he would not have any autosomal DNA that goes back to those tribes that they have on the website, even though he has.
Can you pause it right there real quick, Mr. T? I just want to comment on that, because if you notice, they're using Dante Fortson because they're trying to give themselves credibility by using Dante. Now, understand this, that Dante's autosomal matches ours almost identical, right? So what he's saying is that there would not be a match to the Israelites and things like that. That is a lie, right? But I just wanted to let you know the reason why they're bringing Dante up is because they're trying to use him to give themselves some credibility. Mr. Tate.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Now, that's a lot of big talk. Orthodox Moor is good at shoveling, big talk with no support. If you notice, now I want y'all to pay attention to these guys, right? They can run their mouth all day long talking about EM this, EP2, EM215. I mean, they can run their mouth all day long and they don't back it up. They don't back it up. What they do is they try to turn and go to history and try to use migration and somehow say, oh, that's Israel, when they don't have no Israel DNA. They can't prove who's Israel, but it's a futile effort. It's like, what is the agenda except to really probably tie you all to the Ish people? I think that's the ultimate goal, is to try to manipulate you all into thinking Phenotype has no role. Okay, Phenotype has a role. Now, I'm gonna share something else with you guys. We done with that video. Let me get this up. Okay. All right, sharing right now. So this is what I wrote to Elhaik concerning Orthodox Moor new mantra, right? His new mantra is there's a 500-year limitation on autosomal. You can't use it, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, this is what I said. You can see, greetings, Dr. Elhaik. I know that you are a very busy man, but I was wondering if you could take a few minutes and answer a question for me. I keep being told that trying to use an autosomal to track your family lineage has a weakness because after 500 years, you are no longer able to use autosomal testing for identifying family lineage or relationship. They claim that the samples are no longer viable or available to me. This cannot be true because all I should need is a good sample from an ancient corpse. For example, Otzi the Iceman was found frozen in the mountains of Italy in good condition. Doesn't this provide the scientists with a great opportunity to gain access to his autosomal pairs for testing? Am I missing something? Can you please explain, if you wouldn't mind? Is there such a thing as a 500-year limitation? Also, one more question. Is it even fair to claim that someone can know their ancient forefathers by paternal haplogroup alone? So this last question, he didn't answer that, but I'll show you what he did answer. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Here's his response. You are right on. If this was true, then we would not be able to calculate any interbreeding with the Neanderthals who lived 50 to 200,000 years ago. What you hear is propagated by genealogy companies and those who work for them and keep pushing tests like 23andMe and such. The 500-year limitation is exactly when the paper trail ends for genealogical records. Of course, by that, I mean for white people from European countries who documented their history, most people do not have anything beyond 100 or so years. If you know my work and the test that I developed, then you know that it is possible to get information out of ancient DNA. That's exactly what all the ancient DNA papers are about. All right, so he just put a kibosh on that little mantra that Orthodox Moor likes to push lately, right? And I mean, the house of cards are falling, but so I'm gonna show you something else now. I don't know if these guys understand this, but I'm gonna try. Let me I'm gonna share something else. Okay. Oops. All right. I know I'm slow. I only got two screens, so things get sort of move around on me a little bit. All right. Here we go. So I just want to show. These are the results from Ramses III, right? He E1B1A. They claim he is real because he E1B1A. Whatever. We don't know who the guy is. But so genetic kinship analysis revealed identical haplotypes in both mummies using the Whit-Atney's haplogroup predictor. We determined the Y chromosomal haplogroup E1B1A. The testing of polymorphic autosomal microsatellite loci provided similar results in at least one allele of each marker, right? So let me translate that for you. So they ran the haplogroup tool. They produced E1B1A, okay, as a result, but they also ran what they call a STR profile or against the autosome, right? So when they say polymorphic autosomal microsatellite, the location of an STR mutation. So in DNA, you got two areas that you can look at, even on a Y chromosome, right? You can look at SNPs, right? Single nucleotide polymorphism. You can look at STRs, right? Short tandem repeats. Okay. And so SNPs are a lot more stable. And that's why they use, when they look at these locations on the SNPs, this is how they determine your haplogroup, because they claim it's more stable. Now, the longevity of stability is still in question because nobody 500,000 years old. But anyway, STR profiles are used more so when you're trying to get a brother to pay child support, see who raped somebody, things like that. So when they ran this polymorphic autosomal microsatellite loci, they ran a test against an autosome, not a Y chromosome, but an autosome, and they ran it against this location. All right. So you can run STRs against autosomes. You can run STRs profiles against Y chromosomes, right? Or X chromosomes. These brothers don't know that. All right. So when they say you can't use autosomes, I'm showing you right here, they used it. Now they ran an STR profile against it to identify what's common among the mummy, right? The two mummies that they were looking at. Let's see here. Hold on. What else I got?
So Yeshub in there saying you're butchering it. You're just reading what's there, what's being butchered.
What am I butchering, Mr. Yeshub? Type it up, my man. I just read the document, dude. The problem is you publicly announced, and I could play it. You publicly announced that autosomes are only good for admixture. This right here already proves you to be a liar. Okay. So, I mean, what else is there, my brother? Am I wrong? Did you not say that it's only for admixture? You guys said you can't use autosomes. Did you or did you all not say over and over again you use haplogroups because you can't use autosomes to look at ancient DNA? I'm showing you Ramses III, who's an ancient mummy, and they ran an STR profile against him on the autosome. What am I butchering, bro? You could type right there. Jacoba, you want him in here?
It's up to you. I don't have no respect for him. I don't have nothing to say to him.
All right, we're gonna leave it like that. You could do your hit piece after the fact. Because all you when you do your hit piece, my brother, I want you to address this document here. Don't be telling me I read anything wrong when they ran a STR's test against the autosome, right? You gonna tell me I don't know what I'm talking about? You guys have never even taught on this. You've never taught on SNPs. You never taught on STR profiles. You never taught on alleles. You never taught on centimorgans. Y'all don't do that. All right. So, I mean, y'all want to be experts and don't even know the science, man. I mean, what am I supposed to say? All right. So let me just share this right quick, just to dot the I. Let's see here. Am I still sharing? No, right? No. I'm not sharing. Okay. Oops. There we go. All right. So just to tell y'all, the brother think I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. Short tandem repeats, which are sometimes referred to as microsatellites. That's what we read in that document on Ramses III. Or simple sequence repeats, or accordion-like stretches of DNA containing core repeat units of between 2 and 7 nucleotides in length that are tandemly repeated from approximately a half dozen to several dozen times. So there's these repeats on the chromosome, right? You have these nucleotides, which are cytine, guanine, and what's the other one? The A, T, C, and G, guanine. All right, I'm not trying to get too technical on you guys, right? But that's how the bindings and all that happen between the nucleotides. So what else? What else I got here? Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Am I not sharing? Man, what happens to that? It disappears on me. Oh, there we go. Next. All right. So remember, Orthodox Moor said that we are teaching autosomal, and that Aaron Elhaik site teaches only autosomal. He says we have the same message or concept about DNA. Now, Aaron Elhaik is what? Let's read it. Aaron Elhaik is an Israeli American geneticist and bioinformatician and an associate professor of bioinformatics at Lund University in Sweden. His research uses computational, statistical, epidemiological, and mathematical approaches to fields such as complex disorders, population genetics, personalized medicine, molecular evolution, genomics, paleogenomics, and epigenetics. All right. He attended, let's see here, the institution. Okay, his alma mater is University of Houston. He worked at Johns Hopkins University of Sheffield, Lund University.
Did you scroll? So I don't see that.
Oh, you don't see that? Okay.
Yeah, I think you needed to scroll. You're doing career.
Yeah.
John Hopkins and stuff.
See. You don't see that. Let me see. Hold on. No, it's on
Just
the right
scroll.
side. Yeah, it's on the right side. I see it on the
Oh, it's
screen
on the
right
right
there.
side. Okay, okay. I
On the
got
right
you.
side,
All right.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, because I'm not sharing the page, it's a screenshot. But on the right side, you can see John Hopkins, things like that. So Orthodox Moor say we teach the same thing. Now, Yeshub and his crew say we don't know what we're talking about, but then they say we teaching the same thing that Aaron Elhaik is teaching or doing when he sells his DNA kits. I think I'll pick the professional. I think I'll pick the PhD expert. I think Orthodox Moor inadvertently complimented us, okay, when he tied us to Aaron Elhaik and his approach to genetics. That's all I got to say today, Minister Yakobo. You got anything else?
Well, Abu wanted to know our model. Like I say, we don't have a model because we don't believe DNA identifies who Israel is. But we do believe that you brothers need to go and be honest with your listeners, and you need to be more thorough in your research. You need to understand the science and not the papers that some of these guys that you're following may have, as Elhaik said, ulterior motives, right? They might want to sell something like DNA test kits, right? I'll take Elhaik's professional opinion, right, over your lack of understanding of the science. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and I like to say, look, once again, we don't care about DNA. Israel went into captivity. You think Israel's DNA ain't getting twisted? All right, we scattered worldwide. Now, that don't mean phenotype changes like that, because here's their argument is them Ish people related to you, even though they don't have the same phenotype. But if we look at the history of, say, the Jews in Spain, right? They said they were black. They said they stayed with each other. They didn't mix with other groups. That's in the documents about at least the ones in Spain. All right. So I'm not saying you might not have a handful of brothers going around, Israelites going around and sleeping with other groups. Of course, they probably did. But that doesn't create an entire new nation of people. I mean, we in America, we mixing right now. A large percentage of those kids, you can tell, look Negro. Their phenotype look Negro. Okay. look at this brother. The Jews in Spain were white too. Family, y'all know Binyah Israel did a teaching on that. We did a teaching on that. We used the European documents on that. We have brothers who are in Brazil and in the islands who say they are Sephardic Jews from Spain. The brother is lying. You see what I'm saying? We're not going to let you get away with lying, bro. We're not going to let you get away with it. Our people done seen the history documents, the historical documents. You don't get to do that. You don't get to lie. That's why we're doing this show right now. We putting an end to you guys. We showing how you guys lie and you don't back up your stuff. You don't bring no history. You don't bring no receipts. Where's your documents that prove your historical references?
Let me ask a question to the rest of the family. Now, family, a lot of y'all been with us for a long time. A lot of y'all watched Binyah Israel's teachings on history, Sephardic Jews, and all of that. What does the history say, family? Come on, be honest. The family said the Sephardic Jews in Spain and Portugal were white or black. I want to know. I'm just putting it out there for the family because they're saying it's not the case. I want to know, what does the history book say? Because these guys seem to be more intelligent than the historians who were there at the time. I just want to understand. So if the history books say they black, say black. If it says they white, say white.
Don't forget, even Dante shared the document, the historical document on that, right? The reference about Spanish Jews are what? Always black. That was the quote. So look,
I mean, we got the history. We have the history, and they're gonna tell us the history's wrong. Come on now. Now if they're telling you that the history is wrong, what do you think about their DNA science and their DNA interpretation? How wrong is that? See, our people do research. Our people study. They're not falling for the BS. Go ahead, Mr. T.
Look, y'all could go to blackhistoryinthebible.com. I'm sure you could search for that way because Dante got it indexed. You want to look for the reference that talks about Black Jews in Spain? Go to that site and do a quick search. That's an easy way to prove who's lying and who's telling the truth. It's right there on blackhistoryinthebible.com.
For real, what Sean said, black don't mean black. You know
does
that's
it
what's
ever?
coming.
That does it ever? They've been telling us that. That's your cousin. That's your brother. You related to them, bruh. No, we not. I'm gonna tell you, your genes make up who you are, not one mutation on a Y chromosome. They don't get it. They wonder why Aaron Elhaik is doing autosomal tests instead of haplogroup, because he knows how to identify family relationships. Okay? Put an end to this haplogroup nonsense that they can't even teach properly. And then they're the same ones saying, well, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, oh, well. They're the same ones saying that. Go look at the other videos I did about the YAP gang. That's what Yeshua said. I could be wrong. But when he deals with us, when he attacks us, we always wrong, according to him. And that we Europeans trying to be Israel. I'm like, bruh, none of us know who Israel is by DNA. Let's be honest. Abu, when you do your hit piece, let's be honest. Can we tell who Israel is by haplogroup or autosomal right now? Yeah, let's be honest. No, we cannot. Y'all shoveling manure, fellas. The family is seeing it. All that big fancy talk like Orthodox Moor try to do and all that is nonsense because y'all don't bring no receipts. He what? What did he say?
He said this. Look at that.
The phenotypic analysis proves that the Jews of medieval times did consist of white people. Look, I'm going to tell you this. White people were among our people. Yes, they were. White people were Jews by conversion. Okay? They followed our ancestors. We taught them how to be Jews, and they followed us, and that's how they were Jews. They are not genetically descendants of Jacob. They are genetically Caucasians or Khazarians. They are not genetically tied to us. If they were, you would find some kind of autosomal match between them and us. Now, if you find one or two that have a genetic match to our people, maybe they are. But as a nation of people, there is no way in the world that they are related to us and not have a genetic tie. I'm telling you, my wife bet not come telling me that some little white kid or some little Mexican kid is mine, and I'm not going to do a DNA test. Don't get it twisted. I'm going to do a DNA test because that's what y'all doing. Y'all trying to tell our people that they are family without proof. Y'all trying to say, oh, look at the haplogroup. This white guy over here got E1B1B, so he related to us. This is why we're telling you that's not the case. This is why Aaron Elhaik said y'all can have the same haplogroup and not be related. Y'all gonna deal with that. Y'all gonna deal with what Aaron Elhaik said in his video. Y'all not dealing with the topic. Not only that, when y'all do y'all hit piece, I want y'all to deal with Rashid Khan's article because y'all said we don't know what we talking about. So since we don't know what we're talking about, I want you, huh?
Look at the screen.
They have more ties to the ancient Israelites than any of the West African autosomal. Y'all see this dude here?
Now, didn't they say you can't use autosomal?
That's what they said. But you see this brother here? I'm hoping y'all can see now what a COINTELPRO person look like. No data, no facts. When the facts get challenged, they gaslight you. All right? When they try to, like I showed y'all in my very first video about Yeshua clearly said that the Jews are not related to us. That was out of his mouth. 3 months later, he started doing a video saying that they related to us. So what does that mean? That mean he got it wrong the first time or the second time? He either got it wrong the first time or he got it wrong the second time. That's the only two options. So Is this brother an expert just because he's throwing out terms? E1B1A, EP2. Come on now. E1B1B. Come on now.
Patrilineal. Matrilineal.
Yeah, matrilineal versus patrilineal. Y'all being played, okay? Because they're not bringing the receipts like I'm telling y'all. I want to hear snips. I want to hear STR profiles. I want to hear the results of the test. I want to do a comparison between the Negro and the non-Negro and show me how they related, because it don't make sense.
So, Minister tell you, he said, laugh out loud. The consensus says that Jews are tied to the ancient Israelites autosomally. But what does that say about the Ashkenazi Jews who tested the limber and say that they are the tribe of Levi? I just want to know.
Well, look, I'm going to tell you this. I don't even believe the Kohanim DNA test.
I don't either. I'm just saying.
But let me say that. Oh, no. I'm going. What I'm saying is, it does say that the limber got more of the Kohanim gene than they do, than your people, bruh. Than your people. And that's autosomal test. Kohanim gene DNA comparison was an autosomal test. And you up here lying to the public, telling them that the consensus say that they tied to the ancient Israelites autosomally. And I want you to cite one single ancient DNA source that they compared this to, because you ain't do it yet.
Minister,
you ain't do it yet.
Is he not contradicting himself? Read the screen. Did he not just now contradict himself from his previous post? Didn't he just say the West Africans don't have no connection autosomally? Didn't he just say that?
Well, I mean, you got limbers in West Africa and you got limbers in East Africa, right?
Yeah.
So
which one?
It don't make no sense. Talking about right here. See, in order to defend his position, he gonna move the goalpost. Every time you try to deal with something, he gonna move the goalpost. These ain't the drawers you looking for. This is what we talking about. You go on Berean and watch these guys on Berean. They move the goalpost. I'm like, bro, all I need is some data.
Ruhama, you had my permission.
Huh?
I was telling Ruhama she had my permission.
Oh, to block him?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, all we want is data. Y'all not giving it. Y'all gaslighting people. Y'all making assertions and assumptions without evidence. And when people call you out on it, you get mad. And I'm like, I just want the data, bro. I don't care. You're not giving me data. You're making assertions. Well, the Natufians are Shemites, and because the Natufians are Shemites, surely you Israel. What the huh? You know what I'm saying? Look, I want the data. Y'all not doing it. Y'all gaslighting people. Like I saw Sean Harris gaslight that brother, saying he don't know what he's talking about because he knew to the stuff. And I guarantee you, I like to see that guy debate Sean Harris, because Sean Harris don't know nothing. I like to see them two debate, because the brother was bringing up STRs and telling you why he don't like them and stuff. And yeah, I guarantee you, Sean Harris don't even know what STR is. This is a gang, right? This is a gang. They got an agenda. I don't think their agenda is for us, because what they're trying to do is tie us to the Ish people. And I mean, common sense tell you that we not related. But if you want to go ahead and say we related, then you are obligated to bring the receipts. I want to see that ancient DNA. I want to see you tie us to them, because I guarantee you, I could go to the graves in Brazil where they buried them Negro Jews, and I'm gonna tie it back to them. But they don't. They up here trying to somehow say we tied to the Ish people. No.
Look, to tell you, I agree with Doug right here. Is he a Negro? That's the question, because they show fighting for them other people.
That's the question. I don't know. And look, Orthodox Moor, he might have some Negro blood, but he ain't a Negro. I'm gonna tell you that. I mean, he might be an Arabic or something with a little Negro in him. Might be Esau, right? Maybe, but you know, he ain't Israel, and that's why he a Muslim, right? That's why he up here saying he Israel, but not gonna go back to the law, statutes, and commandments, because he a Muslim. Look, Jacob and I say we built for the fight. We trying to help y'all out, because a lot of people giving these guys creds that they don't deserve. I know people get mad at us because we exposing it, But all I said is, where's the data? Don't be telling me about your assertions and assumptions with no data. You talk about this group practice this group practice that. Because this group practice these traditions, they must be Israel. No, you can't do that. You can add to your theory. You can't make a definitive claim, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go straight to the Ashanti, and I'm gonna show you 8-day circumcision. I'm gonna show you the shofar. I'm gonna show you all these traditions they still got to this day. And guess what? The Ashanti DNA ain't tying back to no Ish people. That's all I gotta say, Yacoba.
Yeah. So somebody asked, how do you guys deal with these people and the lies they tell? This is what we do. We expose the lies, right? Because
That's it.
You know, you know, you can't just sit there and let people just continue spouting all these lies, and then they did, you know, they put words in your mouth and say things you didn't say, and then you got people like Abu who tries to be well spoken and say, well, you understand the reason why the twins have a problem with the Y chromosomal haplogroup is because they are haplogroup G, and so since that ties them to Europe, they are in essence European, so they really don't want to be tied to Europe, so they're trying to find a way. Look, the bottom line is that we don't believe DNA identifies Israel anyway, period, right? How many times we got to tell you that? That shows you that Abu is a liar. And look, I believe Abu is a Ashkenaz personally. That's what I believe, and I think that's why he's doing this fight, because he want to be included in the nation.
I agree, and you know, like you know, Abu will go on Berean tomorrow, and he gonna say they got some kind of feeling about being G. We told 3 years ago we told y'all that we were G, right? We told y'all how DNA is a hypothesis. We showed y'all that a hypothesis is an educated guess, right? Which means they all admit it's not definitive. Not only that, no one has presented an ancient Israelite DNA source, but yet claiming who is and who is not Israel. How do you do that? Could tell you the truth, I don't care if I'm Israel or not. I just know the Most High put my brother and I to do a work. And he showed us that our people Israel, and we went with it because he gave us the assignment. But if we weren't Israel, you know, hey, it don't matter to me. I just want to please the Most High. That's all both of us want to do. But these guys, I mean, there's so much deception, right? You got the Mormon Israelites, you got the Druid Israelites, right? You got the ones that don't believe in Paul, you got those that don't believe in Yeshua. This thing is a battle that we didn't realize how bad it was going to be, because the camps ain't no good either, a lot of them, right? Up here trying to tie us to another group of people that's not Israel, that does not tie back to us. And how did the camps get all these people to claim that Mexicans and Native Indians are Israel? How did they get them to believe that? The old art of repetition. If you notice, they teach these guys to preach that mantra. The Native Americans, the Indians, and that little mantra they do, right? That's called conditioning and brainwashing. So when you got people who've been brainwashed for decades, you can't turn that off that easy. You can't go say, bro, let me get you straight, because they've been repeating it to themselves. It's like cutting their right hand off, right? Because they've been saying it so long. They can't accept the fact that only the Negro is Israel. And then the rest, you know, Berean, like he wants to call us racist because we say these Europeans can't be the same as a Negro. Anybody I could get a 2-year-old and say, okay, little kid, which one of these people you related to? This black man here from Africa or this white man here from Europe, from Germany? Go ahead and walk to the one that's the closest to your family member. Who that little 2-year-old gonna walk to? The Negro, the black man from Africa. This is not rocket science. So obviously, family, there's a game being played against us. And what surprises me is a lot of our community is backing these guys, is backing Yeshua and his group, and not holding them accountable to bring the facts, right? So, Minister Cole.
So Richard Long said, didn't you or Dante teach that Manasseh taught the Europeans to be Jews? So, Manasseh was over there by the Black Sea, according to history. And also, they were living right next to the Black Sea. Now, they were called the Abkhazians. Some called them the Abkhazians. And, I don't think that Dante's saying Ashkenaz or Hebrew Israelites. I think he's saying they may be one or two, right? Because maybe one or two went out outside the camp. You know what I'm saying? Because we know there are what they call Russian Jews out there, and we did a whole show on that and how some of them, the Russian elite was half Negro or partially Negro. So, but that's the thing. I mean, to me, if they don't look Negro or have Negro attributes, they're not Israel. So, I don't believe there's a lot of Ashkenazi over there with Hebrew DNA because, according to the history books, Israel, for the most part, stayed within their own.
That's it. For the most part, Israel stayed with their own. Israel converted, right, some of those people, right? So, like Alexander Pushkin, he's half black in Europe. Yep. A Russian famous poet. He not only was he half black, he was known to be a Jew. Right, but he had that Negro DNA in him, right? So, the bottom line is, don't come around telling me, some white boy come say he Chinese, but he don't look Chinese. Don't work. Don't do that. Don't come telling me you Chinese and you don't have slanted eyes and you don't have black hair and all that. Don't do that. I'm not buying it. And that's what they're doing to us. They're trying to say these people Israel, but they don't look like us. And we the ones fit the curses, right? Everything that's happening after the 400 years has happened because we awoke. We called it. 2019, this world is upside down. All right? Something's going on here, family. I'm telling y'all. Infiltrators were positioned. Like my brother and I, we said day one. Them camps, most of them camps were positioned to prevent the awakening because most of us, when we saw them on the street corner wearing the Superman outfits, we were like, I'm not gonna be a Hebrew Israelite. Look at them guys on the street corner looking like Supermen, right? We weren't gonna go for that, right? And so, but when people like us and Dante and Benya and Kelly brought out the real information, people started saying, oh, it's without a doubt. Not only that, them curses do apply. And so from there, right, the awakening.
My question, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but MT say I'm Chinese with slanted eyes and black hair. Yeah, you just said you're Chinese, right?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're gonna have those traits. That's my point. A Negro has certain traits, right? And those Ish people don't have those traits. That's my point. If we Israel, they can't be Israel because I'm telling you, either they're Israel or we not. I don't have to be Israel. They can have it. What I'm telling you is it's either them or us, just by genetics. Phenotype matters, family. Don't let nobody gaslight you. Phenotype matters. Alleles matters. Alleles deal with phenotype. Alleles matter. Phenotype matter. Don't let them gaslight you. Oh, well, you're being racist because you say phenotype matters. Of course it does. Don't look. A brother from Nigeria saying he Chinese. I'm not going to believe him. Simple as that. Phenotype matters.
That's it, Mr. Teotw.
That's it.
That's all. I ain't got to say nothing else. Yeah, we know Abu sitting there listening, and he gonna come and misrepresent us again. It's all good.
Make sure you address those points, Abu. Make sure you address that article, right, from Raziv Khan. So when you say we misinterpreted Raziv Khan, I want to see how you interpret that article that I shared. When you say we misinterpreted Aaron Elhaik, I want you to break down his video and explain to me what Elhaik meant, because I need you to break that down for me.
All right, fam, that's all we got. We wanted to share that with the fam. I know some of y'all interested, some of y'all not. It's all good. But we wanted to let you all know that they misrepresenting the science, and Elhaik agrees with us, and they admit that Elhaik agrees with us. Orthodox Moor admits Elhaik agrees with us. So I ain't got nothing else to say.
What?
What'd you say, Mr. Teotw?
Make it make sense.
Yeah, exactly. All right, fam. Love y'all with the love of the Messiah. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending.